Yeah.
How you feeling on the Epstein files? I guess I don't know. I don't know why I felt like that'd be a good plot.
That's a good segue. I know they released some heavily redacted. The good thing about the internet now, and kind of the reason why I kind of did that play on words about the revolution being streamed, is because there's individuals out there that are putting these documents together and they're finding context and even like the most redacted picture, and they're finding the people, they're finding some of the people that have been redacted from that, and
Yeah.
they're finding photos that, like, oh look, this photo is similar in its, without the black uh screen on it, and this
Mm,
is the person, and they may match it like one to one, and
yeah.
it turns out that they're connected with Donald Trump in some way. And it's like, if not somebody that was a contestant in a pageant or a politician, so it's gonna come out, that information is gonna come out whether they want to let it out or not.
Mm.
And they made the mistake of like redacting this information and putting out there in the belief that nobody's gonna figure this out. We're never gonna release the actual information unredacted. So, but no, people are very they're very smart. And with time, and we have the internet at our disposal, it's like we're using it as a tool now. So
You heard it. You heard that initially. I don't know if you could still do this, but initially they redacted it in a way that you could just copy and paste.
oh, I heard
Copy the
that. I
redacted.
don't know how true that is, but I mean, I
It,
wouldn't
it was
put it.
true. We were doing it. I was doing it with like other people.
That's crazy.
Yeah, we were
That's
just like
crazy.
you just copy the redacted portion and paste it on a notepad,
That is
and
crazy.
it would freaking because of how they did it. Yeah, they were so incompetent.
That is crazy.
That's how a lot of people. That's how a lot of people like know what they know is because people were just going live and hey, let's redact this. Just copy this and paste it on a note paper. And they're like, whoa, we didn't know you could do this. I don't know if they officially patched out with this last drop, but so I hear. I don't. Some people were able to still do that, and
Yeah.
they were able to find out information regarding like, apparently like they found like his name was you got like the whole administration like in the file
Oh, yeah, 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 yeah.
and to any from them freaking having like a racist type of cult-ish pedophilic ring where they're essentially they're talking about like they have like this code of eating things and ice cream and beef jerky and freezing beef jerky. Like did you it's it's crazy, but if you're piecing together certain things, it looks like it's in such a way to where these people look like cannibals, like they're eating these children, and that they're sexually abusing these children, which is not in code in the slightest. Even the 4chan Pizzagate thing was debunked,
Right.
right? Like they blew that wide open. That wasn't a conspiracy.
I
Bitcoin
remember that, yeah.
isn't a conspiracy. And then now you got like presidents casually dropping the fact that there's aliens. It's crazy. I mean, they're probably the best point in time where you can just openly admit that and get away with it as a president.
Yeah. Yeah, I had a buddy ask me, not even a buddy anymore, but somebody who used to be an acquaintance, and they asked me the other day on social media. They're like, I had posted something about the Epstein files, and they're like, "Well, there's Democrats in there, Bill Clinton's in there." And my response was, "And that I care about that? Like them too. Like
Yeah.
that's the problem, is that there's a part of us that we don't care if you wear the red hat, you wear the blue hat. If you were involved in something like this, you're going to.
Yeah, you gotta
You're gonna fry. Like you're gonna pay for this. Like
yeah,
it's not
yeah.
like I saw interviews where people were asked, if Joe Biden is in these files, what do you think should happen to him? He should get the chair. Okay. What if Donald Trump was in these files? I don't think he'd be in those files.
He's in the
They
ones.
said, and they're like, okay, what if he is in the files? This was before they got released. And
Mhm.
they're like, well, I'd have to see why he's in the files, and so it's like you're already coming up with the mental gymnastics of like why you would let this happen if it were Donald Trump. Like
Yeah.
there's no unequivocally like I know Bill Gates is in it. Fuck that guy.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
fry his ass. Like that. That's my response. Like it don't matter.
Yeah. I don't care. Barney's in the files, drop Barney. Barney's going to jail.
But I think people know this and they're like, okay, now let's mention Jay-Z. Let's mention,
mm,
and it's
Michael
like
Jackson.
Michael Jackson, right? Let's
Yeah.
mention these individuals and let's see what you guys are gonna say about this. Like, first of all, so Pusha T gets mentioned a week after he had openly said fuck ICE. A person who's never been mentioned. And Jay-Z, he's been mentioned politically in some aspects, but Pusha T has never once been mentioned ever. That's not to say he would
Yeah.
be involved in anything just because he has never been mentioned, but come on, look at it. He's never been involved in anything politically, really. And the one time he says something politically the week after, I'm like, come on, that's
Did you see what they put in there though? So apparently these were associated by an FBA call, FBI call.
mhm,
And that's how they were tied to the files.
yeah.
But they were tied to the files because they were associated with um, um, uh, Weinstein, and
Mhm.
Weinstein had connections with Epstein. So that's why both Pusha T and Jay Z were. I can't necessarily speak on Eminem. I know Eminem was in there as well, but all these people were nobody. They were nobody at these points in times where the reference calls are actually saying these calls were done in like 2021, first off, or 2019, excuse me. But they were referring to a time in like the 90s. These people were like nobody at that point in time. And they were barely
I saw that.
national,
Yeah, I saw that.
And so like I mean, even with like Michael Jackson, you find out like he created Never Never Land to help hide these kids, right? Away from um these people. And so I definitely can see where their focus is so there's such a partisan level, there's such a partisan effort right now to try to shift blame that they're not even focused on the important part, which is the fact that we have someone like this in office in the files over 4,000 times, that was actually involved with the graping and the potential cannibalizing of children, right? Of women and people from his pageant, right? And the abduction of these children away from their homes and their families. So these are sick people, right? That like it's just completely gone over their head. I don't know if they're in denial. I don't know if they're just truly evil people. I would like to. I don't know. I can't at this point in time confirm that they are evil people that are trying. I can confirm that the people in office are, yes, but the
Mhm.
people trying to just listening and not really don't. I feel like they're in denial. I'll say that. They're in denial because the files are right there. The proof is right there and it's public, it's available, or at least it was. And now it's still online. So you can go, you can verify, see people pulling it off of the .gov website and actually looking through it line by line. It's all there, but the state of the world right now, and that's one of the biggest issues I've noticed. So you got the insecurities on one side, and you've also got the files on one side, the corrupt billionaires on one side, that are really putting us in between two rocks. And there's throughout all of that, there are continuous distractions. There's so much happening to where it's designed to distract us,
Mhm.
but it's also designed to control us. Even the effort to denationalize us. There's the Trump administration has made a real effort to try to denationalize Americans, Black Americans, FBA Americans. And it's really sad. It's really sad that we're not able as united as we could be. And maybe we'll see some change over the coming months. But from what I've seen, and maybe my focus, it's completely possible my focus isn't in the right areas. At the end of the day, we have hip hop. We have hip hop.
We do to kind of piggyback on what you're saying. I don't necessarily think that. I think the division that this president was trying to do, it did divide us. But I also think that the same division that he tried to do, it's working against him now, because now we're all kind of seeing like, wait a minute, this is what he's trying to do. He's trying to divide us, and the more he attacks, and it's going to get worse. Remember, this is
Yeah.
a year and a half into his presidency, into his 4 years. It's going to get worse, and maybe we need to see how worse it
Mm.
gets for us to be like, you know what, fuck this guy.
I'm right there. I understand what you're saying when you say that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm right there. That's sort of where I'm looking at it, where yeah, initially when I saw that this was happening, I was like, okay, well, I can see why they put him in the office. And it wasn't, regardless of what people say, I'm not going to believe that it was because of the status quo, right? People didn't like the status quo, right? I have my reasons, and it doesn't involve the status quo. The status quo was that was an excuse, right? That's always an excuse for a president that is controversial until it's not. But in terms of this, I definitely think that yeah, it was completely possible for people to see this and to understand them basically eating themselves.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Right. Like it was gonna fold on them regardless. It's gonna fold on me, but I'm gonna be good. Like, I'll be good, but I'm gonna be good if I was, I don't know, if I was like homeless, I'd be good. I would find a way to make it. And maybe that's just me, but in regarding other people, I definitely think that they needed to see that their mistake was a step back. MAGA isn't anything new. MAGA was Reagan's, right? Like it's the same stuff repackaged.
Yeah.
Um,
And I want everybody, watching, the listeners, the travelers. I want you guys to remember that the algorithm rewards outrage.
that's big right there.
So we dictate the algorithm. The algorithm should not be dictating us. So
Absolutely.
yeah,
That's huge. Because way too often I see that you get into the patterns we don't realize. You see a video like, oh, this video, but you don't realize why are you being recommended those videos? Is it because you watch them all the time? Or that may be, but two things can be right at one time.
yeah,
Right. You can also be getting farmed, right? You can also be distracted. So if some emergency pops off and your algorithm is going, at a certain percentage, 100%, like you're going to be recommended the next thing as opposed to
oh yeah,
what
and
pops off,
extremes are going to be amplified.
and the extremes are going to be amplified.
Mhm.
Yes. Yeah. So if they want to keep you on a loop, yeah, they do that. Especially you can see that on X very easily, but
Oh
YouTube,
yeah, yeah,
it also happens on YouTube to where you're just seeing, oh, freaking, Trump did this, Trump did that. Like, if you're genuinely interested in what happened at that point in time, you need to read about it. You need to do a multi-pronged, multifaceted approach
yeah.
to your research.
And
And you need to,
I also say, to kind of jump on that too, is I also say don't focus too much on the left versus right, because that's kind of a smoke screen. I say focus on it being fear versus coexistence.
fear versus coexistence.
because they want
Ooh,
to put that fear, and they want to divide so that coexistence isn't where we go, so that we don't know that, like, all right, this is what we're supposed to do. This is we're supposed to unite. So they'll introduce that fear to us. So just keep that in
that
mind.
that's powerful because so again, a lot of people don't realize that there is a difference between just sort of throw a haymaker in there.
Mhm.
Or wrench in there rather. There is a difference between a liberal and a leftist, right? Liberalism isn't inherently left. There can be conventional conservative liberals. There can be progressive neoliberals, right? Progressives are going to be on the left, and of course, your conservatives are going to be on the right, right? But that's if you need a left and right sort of framework, right? You're there are going to be conventional conservative liberals, and those people are typically, I think they're mostly MAGA. Um, but if you're just going to absolve all the left and right stuff, also try to include moderates. I don't personally, I don't believe in moderates as a real thing. Um, people saying they're left or they're left or they're left and they're right. And there is no one that is left and they're right. They may have, you know,
Exactly, because I've been called a moderate, but I'm not. I'm not a moderate. Just I think people call me that because I can be fiscally conservative, and only because I wanna know where we're putting our money at. That's not to say that I'm
hmm,
not that's not to say that I'm against Social Security programs, because Social Security programs helped individuals like my mother.
hmm.
It helped families, Black and brown families, it's helped white families too, but, there are things that I'm like, "Alright, maybe we should see where our money's going for this, and maybe we should think about it before we use it for, I don't know, international purpose."
And that's a thing that I think is just an inherent thing with most minorities. They're going to be fiscally conservative. I wouldn't even say they'd be conservative in a lot of other ways as well, but also be, there was a study back in like I think 2019 or something that I was saying that there's a lot of black folks that are conservative, but they tend to vote left. Why does that study exist? There are a lot of studies that saying, even like a lot of white liberals, they tend to vote right, even if they're, and that's generally because they're conservative liberals, right? But so there are definitely there's nuance in everything, right? There's contrast, and I definitely think that to understand what you want for the future, you have to understand how history repeats itself.
Mhm. Oh, yeah.
And at this point in time, I think that we don't understand where we are and where we've been to understand where we want to go, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, it's something that we definitely have to dial in because at the moment we're getting to points where we're not only in states of I think we're doing pretty well in terms of reactionary being our reactions and how we are proactive and stuff like that based off
Mhm.
circumstances, but we're still being drowned by what they like to call flooding the zone. Right, it's an intentional thing that's
Yes.
happening.
Yeah. But I want people to keep their heads up, because I've been hearing a lot of like, man, this whole thing's got me depressed. And like, that's a normal reaction to, depression, and seeing, sorrow is a normal reaction. But I want everybody to know that, like, you need to keep your head up. Like, if anything, people need you right now more than ever. And it might get louder before it gets better, but you got to keep in mind that pressure creates clarity. And I think that's I just keep your heads up.
Mental health is all
Yeah.
time.
Mhm.
Is vital.
Mhm.
Even a lot of these red pill dudes, there's stages but even just amongst Americans in general, we have a mental health crisis that we're ignoring because it's seen as weak or useless or only encouraged amongst women. And really, it's just it's an adult thing. And if you
Mhm.
want to be a productive adult, if you want to be a productive family member or productive friend, these are things that you have to work toward, work on, is your mental health, right? And what that looks like. And I know it's probably a bit ambitious to say your mental health is going to be 100%, especially during times like these where there's a bit of a power play in office with the Epstein files, and in my opinion, them kind of releasing it without his full no abouts, right? His
Mhm.
full authorization, right? But there's a lot going on, and that's understandable. It's best now the time to communicate with your friends and your family, and these are things that I am not perfect on as well. These are things that I try to work on. So I try to practice what I preach, right?
Yeah.
And I make mistakes. I'm human, so
We all
understand,
do. We all do.
right?
Yeah,
Right?
we
Yeah.
we we live in a beautiful time too, and I really do encourage listeners, if you are feeling some type of way, you're wanting to discuss or talk something. I know Zone, you have an amazing Discord and a community in there. I also have a Discord community. You're more than welcome, listeners, to join our communities if you haven't already. And that the way I know Zone has his Discord and the way I have my Discord are very similar, and we're open to discuss a lot of things. And if you're having a bad day, come and have a conversation with any one of the community members. And yeah, sometimes talking goes a long way.
Yeah, that's what we're here for. Yeah.
Yep.
I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you. I appreciate you for coming by
I
again.
appreciate you, man. Thank you.
And yeah, we stuck it through, did the damn thing here. So
Yeah.
yeah, hopefully we can have more conversations like these in the future. But
Oh, we definitely will. Yeah.
if you guys haven't already checked out I Got Fame, make sure you guys do that. Check out I Got Fame. In the description down below, linked. And yeah, I'll see you guys next time, travelers.
Peace out. Peace out. Thank you.